Hi everybody, it's Net from the Art of Intuition, and today we are going to talk about the decrease of the power our external reality has on us and how you start to see that and how it's different from our human realities where we were so dependent on the external to make ourselves feel good, and whether it be through connections we had, whether it be with people we were, people we would talk to or people we hung out with, or if it was more the job we had, or if it was just more, makeup and going to the gym and all of these things we used to use to make ourselves feel good, and we can point to 100 different things. There's thousands of different ways you can go in the human realities on what we utilize to make ourselves feel good about ourselves. Whether you, like I said, if you want to go the beauty route, whether it just be who we associated with. And a lot of times we use all of them. They might have had one that was our strongest identity, but we kind of pulled on everything and we used all of these things to kind of make ourselves feel like we mattered, make ourselves feel important, make ourselves feel, just worthy in a sense. And you're going to find as you go through your process, you don't need that stuff anymore. You don't need any of these external things to feel good about yourself, because the good is coming from within. And I don't really like the word good, but I'm going to use it for a little while here as we go through this. But ascension really just means we're embodying in our soul, and our body goes through a lot when we do that, because our body was not meant to carry so much of our soul light. So much of our soul is outside of us. It's in our field around us. It's not in the body. And we've gone through this, a zillion times. And how as our soul goes in the body more, as we lighten up and lighten our programming and lighten the toxins in our body and all these different things we go through, as we go through ascension, and it's so many iterations and parts and pieces to it, that we feel lighter. Our skin can get more like our skin feels like it glows a little bit more. Our lies get out. Our voice can get higher for a while. Then it can kind of settle more out. I feel like it can get higher when you first start going into the fifth dimension, because it has that sing-songiness like you'd see in like a kids movie or something. But then that does, to me, kind of shift a little bit, and you get more of a maybe more of an earthy tone to your voice. It has a more of a power tone to your voice, just a different frequency. Like your voice will change as you go. You can age up for a while. Some days you feel like you look 100 years old, and then some days you feel like, oh my God, I've aged back down. I feel like I look 20 years old now. And that has to do more with your human template and how long we're supposed to live that out and the age we're supposed to reach. And then we might age up to that, and then we just start to de-age back down. But a lot of these things take time for our body to be able to do. They're not overnight processes for our body to heal whole. People will call it, I don't love the word healing, but for our body to repair itself, you'll see a lot of people talk about it in those terms, for our DNA to repair, to where all of a sudden we're not, all the stuff we put our body through, whether it be the frequencies we put our body in, the stuff we put in our body, what we expose our consciousness to, it all affects our vibration, it affects our body. So as we go through a lot of these clearings, our body, it's essential for our body to clear too. That's where we get to the new realities. Our body comes with us. It's not just our consciousness is there, but our body's living somewhere else. Our body has to come with us. It's just a little bit slower to get there. It takes longer for the body to get there. That's why you get the consciousness of a reality first, and it comes in later on. Because your body has to get to that reality. Your body has to get to the frequency of that reality. So you'll find you're going to start relying less on the stuff you used to really feel like made you feel like something, I guess is another way to put it. I noticed, you might notice you just use less makeup, or you might not use any anymore. You might just put it on maybe a couple days a week. And so now I really only put on makeup if I'm going to be on camera, because I enjoy being on camera with makeup on. But I've done videos that I didn't have any makeup on, and I did videos, so I'm not attached to that, but I do tend to have a little more fun when I get to put on my makeup. But other than that, I don't utilize it like I used to. I don't really use it. You know, getting dressed up or getting, a lot of times I'll just spend the day in it depends on the season, sweatshirts, or if it's summer, maybe I'll be in a bathing suit most of the year. You know, it depends. We just, for me, and even the gym, like I will still go to the gym, and a lot of people get to certain phases where they can't do that kind of physical stuff anymore. I go just to kind of move my energy a little bit and to take my body to a different place for a while, because the vibration of the house can be really high sometimes, and some days when there are a lot of people in the house, it can feel kind of just not really aligned with what my body needs. I'll move my body out, and I'll take my body outside, and I'll take my body to the gym, but I don't go for the same reasons, and I don't work out the same way. It's more to just move energy around than it is to really lift a lot of heavy stuff or those types of things. So I have just noticed that as I've gone through, things that really used to matter to me, things I really used to take identity around, is probably another way to put it, you're going to find it just loses its pull on you, and you don't require it. It doesn't, if it's there, fine, and if I want to put on some makeup, I can, but I don't need that to feel good about myself. I don't need that to feel like I have accomplished something. You know, it's just not necessary in that way. So as you go through different iterations of your process, and I say iterations, different dimensions as you go through your ascension process, a lot of these things that had holds on you don't anymore. And for someone else looking at your reality, that might seem weird if you always used to dress up everywhere you went, and now you don't feel like you need to do that anymore. Doesn't matter. You always used to, you know, you had to have a certain type of car, or you had to, you know, put on makeup, or you had to have your hair a certain color. A lot of people will lighten their hair when they go through ascension. They'll put a lot of blonde in their hair. I always had a lot of blonde in my hair because I dyed it since I was like 16. As I went through different parts of my ascension, I went more back to my natural hair color. So I feel like that can be different for however you start. You'll probably end in a different place. But I don't put blonde in my hair anymore, but I did for years. But now I go more my natural color because that feels more like me. And I don't require the rest of the stuff. I don't do the highlights. These kind of feel like superficial things, but I think you're going to find these superficial things really used to mean a lot to us, which feels kind of distorted in itself, right? That all these things, you're like, God, I can't believe I cared about that. I can't believe I used to stress if I couldn't get my hair cut or I couldn't get my hair done. Who cares? You know, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. And that's the other kind of, probably the biggest breakthrough we come through. Well, it's not the biggest, but it's one of the big ones. Nobody cares. We cared because we got a story out of it. We got an identity out of it. It made us, it tried to fill a hole within us. We cared. Nobody else gave a shit. Nobody else cares. And once we realize that, and it's not that nobody else cares from a place of detachment or a place of unkindness. They don't have the bandwidth to care because they're too much in their own stuff and drama. It's not that you don't mean anything to them. They don't have the capacity for anything to mean anything to them. They technically don't mean anything to them, just like we didn't mean anything to ourselves. You know, all these things we grabbed on to give ourselves meaning, to give ourselves definition, to give ourselves some kind of spark, to get up every day and keep going in our human realities. All that stuff fades away. We don't care. You won't really care about money anymore. You know, that the way you view that's going to change. You're only going to really feel like, what do I really need? You know, I don't need all this other stuff anymore. I don't need all this stuff. I don't need all these things. All these things start to fade away, and we just don't require them. We don't require them in the same way. We don't get anything from them anymore. And some of them you might keep around to some capacity. Just change how you see them, how you utilize them. It'll have a different purpose. Like I say now, for me, when I go to the gym, it has a different purpose than it used to. I used to go out a lot when I was back 15, 20 years ago. And I still did that through a lot of my ascension process, but it was to go out and connect with people in a different way. And I would still go, but it was to connect with people in a different way. Eventually I got so I didn't want to do that anymore. And you might find that for a while you shift while you do it, and you also don't have the attachment to it. You don't have to have it. You don't have to do it. It's just something that, oh yeah, I could do that, or I could go, but I don't know if I really don't have to, or I don't really want to. And sometimes it'll eventually just shift all the way out, or it'll just not matter as much. But to someone looking outside of your world and looking at you and seeing all these drastic changes, which is going to feel drastic to them because this is how you presented yourself. This is your human persona. This is how you went out and showed people who you were. So when all of a sudden you go out and you're different now, people can have a hard time reconciling that. And that is when you can get to some of the judgment that can take place. And then we start to judge ourselves like, yeah, why do I not want to do this anymore? And what's going on? And to other people, we seem really odd. So no matter where you are in kind of rearranging the pieces on your chessboard, you're going to find they rearrange. And your 1 seed is now your 8th seed. Your 8th seed is now your 1 seed. It's going to change, and what you value changes. And we don't pull any of this stuff to give ourselves identity or a feeling anymore. And it has no impact on you. The external world starts to have little impact, and then the judgment of the external world, because we've also transcended the judgment within ourselves. We can only be judged if we judge ourselves. If we stop judging ourselves, you'll find you don't care what other people say. It doesn't matter what other people think. It doesn't matter. It's not personal. It's just they don't understand. And if you were looking at someone going through something similar, you would say you don't understand what's going on with them. When you look at someone in their human existence now, you're probably like, oh, I don't understand. What's going on with that person? That's so weird. They're acting so weird. Because to us, the human consciousness is weird. And when we look at who we were and who we are, as we go through our ascension process, we come out the other side, and our ascension process never ends. But there are some big moments when you come out the other side of some big years of it, after a couple years of it, and you are totally different. And you just notice that all this stuff that used to mean so much doesn't mean anything. So I challenge everyone to go through and really look at that. And sometimes we don't see the improvements. We don't see how we've shifted. We don't see how we've changed. We don't see how we've ascended in our consciousness to what really matters to us, and how we used to utilize other things to try to make ourselves feel better. But as you go through and start just listing out stuff that you used to have that now you don't care about anymore. Even friends you used to have, you don't care. And it's not that you don't care from a point of anger or like the human, I don't care. It's this, it doesn't matter. If they're there, fine. If they're not, fine. You'd rather have someone here that's in a consciousness that you're resonating with and you're enjoying than someone who is not, that you used to care about and you still care about, but the consciousness and your consciousness don't match up. So it doesn't matter. It would be hell to have that person here. And you realize that. And we start to see that. Like, that would be miserable. Because we're so different now. We're in different dimensions. Even if you're in the same dimension, you're in different beginning of one dimension, the end of one dimension. They're totally different. So there's going to be so much that kind of we leave on the cutting room floor in a sense. And some of it we might kind of maybe stick it in our back pocket, like, maybe I'll do that from time to time, but I don't really care about it anymore, really. It's just something fun to do. The pressure is also off when you do it. Like, the first time I did a video, I think I took like eight hours to actually get ready to do it, I think it was like a 1-minute video, like 10 years ago or something, or I don't know, 8 years ago. And now I get ready, and it's more having fun, It's like, oh, what color eyeshadow do I want to do? Or do I want to put glitter on today? Or do I want to put like a jewel on? Or what do I want to do? Do I want to make it fun? What colors do I want to use? What color do I want to put on? We're not bound by it. And we're not obsessed with it. We just kind of flow with it. And if it feels like we want to do something, we'll do it. Because we know, hey, this is going to activate me today. Oh, hey, this color might activate somebody else today. Or this topic. I want to talk about this topic today. And it might mean something to one person. Because in Ascension, we care about the one person. more than we ever cared about the 18 other zillion people in our life. We care, truly care about one person. Because we can't connect with one person, who cares if we connect with 50,000 if we can't connect with one? The other 50,000 don't matter. We have to be able to connect. That's why you feel like everything gets smaller in your world and you might have one person in at a time for a while, because you have to be able to connect with that person and put everything else aside. And what does that person require? And really care. As humans, we don't care. We don't care about anybody else. Like I said, it's just a bullshit when we say we do. We don't. Even if we thought we cared, we had some agenda to be there. There's you peel it back and it was like, oh wait, there's another reason I'm here. I don't think about me really caring. That's kind of bullshit. There's something else going on here. We get to the what else is going on here, and we shed all that. So I don't want to make this one super long today because I've had a lot of super long ones lately. But just start making a list. Have some fun and start listing out the stuff. Oh God, I couldn't live without that 5 years ago, and now you don't even know where it is. You know, that was so important to me before, and oh yeah, did I even ever have that? Or, you know, does it matter what kind of blush I wear? Or like I said, we would get so wrapped up in the dumbest stuff, stupidest stuff. But at that moment, those things were so important. And to a lot of people, no, those things are still important. And we have to understand that when you see people clinging to a lot of the stuff, we did the same thing. We clung to this stuff. We clung to it for some kind of presence and some kind of identity and something to define us and to be us and to make us feel good about ourselves and to make us feel like we were actually putting our best foot forward in whatever way that was for us. But we don't require that anymore. But when you see people that still do, we have to respect that and not try to tear down that, like, that's ridiculous, you care about that. We cared about that stuff too. Anytime we talk about different processes and different ways we're shifting and ascension, we never want to go back and we're going to do it for a while until we realize what we're doing and the judgment of that and our inner judgment of ourselves and all that. It doesn't mean when we talk about, well, they're still attached, human consciousness, someone in that is still attached to that stuff. Yes, they are. But we can feel the compassion for that. When you see all the things going on in the world, you know, yeah, we know it's collective awakening. Yeah, you know it has to happen in certain ways. Doesn't mean you don't have compassion for people going through it. Because we know how hard it is. Because we've been through our own on a micro level. And you look at stuff happening on a macro level and then understanding it's also affecting people on a micro level. You understand why it has to happen to push humanity forward, to push them into ascension as a collectives. It doesn't mean we don't have compassion for that. And it doesn't mean we want to strip that away from people and say, well, it's stupid you care about that. You also remember that in those times for us, those are the little things that gave us joy because we had no inner joy. We had no inner light. So these were these little kind of beacons for us that gave us something. And for others at this point, it gives them something. So, all right, we'll end it on that today. Okay. Keep practicing the art of intuition.